It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Research shows that 1 out of 5 people are highly sensitive. But what is the difference between having empathy and being an empath? According to today's guest, Dr. Judith Orloff, having empathy means that our heart goes out to another person in joy or in pain. But for empaths, it goes much further. Dr. Orloff is here today to discuss ways to safely nurture empathy and develop coping skills. Dr. Orloff is a New York Times best-selling author and a leading voice in the fields of medicine, psychiatry, and intuitive development. She's an assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA. Welcome, Dr. Orloff. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on your show.
Doctor, most people can feel another person's joy or pain, but what does it mean to be an empath and actually feel on a deep level what that person is experiencing?
Well, I wrote the Empath Survival Guide to really share with people what an empath is versus just what having empathy is. And empathy is being able to feel what's going on in another person. But being an empath means you're an emotional sponge, and you tend to take on whatever a person is feeling physically or emotionally into your own body and take it on as your own. So many of my patients who are empaths come in to see me with fatigue, agoraphobia, anxiety, depression. And if empaths are not properly diagnosed, then they get put on medications, they get given the wrong diagnosis, and they're not offered the tools to learn how to protect your energy and not absorb the energy of the world. And, there's so much intense negative energy in the world today that empaths need to learn how to center and protect themselves and thrive with their beautiful gifts of intuition, of depth, of connection, of love of nature, love of people, wanting to help people. The empaths have wonderful gifts, and I am an empath myself, as well as a psychiatrist. And that's why I wrote the book, to show people how I combine being an empath with traditional medical skills and how I protect myself in the world, which is so essential.
You just mentioned some of the things that your patients experience, but what are some of the signs that tell us that we're empathic on a more positive note? Like, what are things that we would be feeling or knowing because we are empathic?
Empaths are able to see into the hearts of others, and so they can see what makes people tick. Empaths make wonderful healthcare professionals and givers. There's such a thing as an animal empath. People who are empaths have deep connection with the animal world, so they go into animal rescue or being a vet or something to do with helping animals. They're deeply intuitive and are able to sense and know the secrets of the universe through their intuition. And empaths live in an energy world, so they sense energy all around them, and there's beautiful ecstatic energies in the world as well as difficult negative energies in the world. And so the key is to amplify all their gifts and to learn protection strategies and centering strategies to not take on the stress of others. It is not healthy to take on other people's stuff, nor is it any of our business. And so empaths have to deal with their codependency issues and really keep their eyes on themselves. And one of the key techniques that I talk about in the book is learning that no is a complete sentence. You can say, no, I'm so sorry, I don't feel like going out tonight. No, I can't listen to you if you keep going around in circles and keep me on the phone for 2 hours because I'm exhausted. So learning how to set those really appropriate limits and healthy, loving limits is very important for empaths.
Judith, as I've learned more about this, I've really come to believe that I am an empath. And I took your test, and I am a full-blown empath according to your test. And It doesn't surprise me, but what does surprise me is, and I'm not sure if it's because of the fact that I'm more aware or if it's I'm aging, but it's getting worse for me. And what's starting to happen, for an example, and I use this because I think there are a lot of people that are experiencing what I am. I'm involved on a committee with someone, and this person is just so negative. And it's almost like I can feel this venom coming out of this person. So for people like me that can't get away from the person, can't get out of the situation, what do we do to protect ourselves? Because it's making me sick. Migraines, upset stomach.
That's such a common experience for empaths. I mean, number one, congratulations on finding out you're an empath. That's the first revelation. And you can take the self-assessment test in the beginning of the Empath Survival Guide. Anyone listening, to self-diagnose yourself as an empath. It's not rocket science. We have certain qualities that we contain in ourselves: our desire for alone time, our replenishment in nature. We get overwhelmed by noise, smells, excessive talking, and we get drained by energy vampires more so than other people. So in your situation, what you can do is practice a shielding visualization where you actually, when you're around this person, practice putting a shield of white or pink light all around your body, about 5 inches from the body, and you'll be able to feel a protective layer of energy. You're working with energy to stop whatever the energy is coming from the other person, stop it from going into your body, which is what you're interested in. And so you see the other person, but they seem a little bit more distant, and you don't feel the impact of what they're doing in your own body. But there's a chapter also on combating narcissists and other energy vampires who can suck the life out of empaths and all people. But empaths are just very, very open. They don't have the same filters that other people have. We feel everything. And that's good if you want to really connect with life and the mysteries of life. And, as a psychiatrist, it certainly helps me have more compassion for my patients, that I can feel what's going on in them, you see. But what you don't want to do is take it on. So that's the fine balance, and how do you be in a relationship when you're an empath? I wrote a chapter on empaths and love, and what I struggle with, and successfully so far, is, I have a deep desire to have alone time and be alone, and I also have deep desire to have a partner. And how do I reconcile that? These are some of the dilemmas that empaths face.
Judith, why does this happen to some people? Is it a result of trauma? Are we born this way?
That's interesting. There's a wide variety of causes, and some people are just born empathic. I believe I was just wide open to the world. I never had the same defenses. And so I think I was, intuitive and open and, just receptive as from a baby. But sometimes people can become empaths as a result of trauma, as if they're raised by alcoholic parents or abusive parents or neglectful parents. They get their energy fields beaten down in a way that people with really beautiful parenting, that doesn't happen. And so then they're kind of left raw, and that can, show itself in terms of being an empath and not having the defenses that normally build up with really wonderful, nurturing parenting.
And this is based on neuroscience.
Yeah, and there's a section in the book on the neuroscience of empathy and empaths. And one great theory is that the mirror neuron system in the brain is hyperactive in empaths, meaning that the neurons that are responsible for compassion are on overdrive. They're working all the time. They can feel what's going on in other people, compared to, let's say, narcissists who have what's called an empathy deficient disorder. So their mirror neurons are hypoactive. Isn't that interesting?
So they don't have the ability to feel anything that someone else experiences, or very little.
Yeah, very little. They don't have they're not wired for empathy. That's why there's a section in the book on the toxic attraction between empaths and narcissists, because I'm warning empaths to, number one, identify narcissists, in terms of love partners, and then if you have to work with a narcissist, if it's your boss, then how to deal with them. But a narcissist cannot make a healthy partner for an empath. It's impossible. And I've seen so many empaths suffer as a result of this. Not that all my patients listen to me, because they fall in love with the charm of a narcissist.
Right. Well, that's what we naturally attract, isn't it?
Well, not everyone, but a lot of empaths do. So it's just a red flag to watch out for, and you make your own decisions. But I can only, say, and, as a warning in the book, don't do it. Run in the opposite direction.
Judith, you mentioned that often empaths are misdiagnosed with depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue. What happens when an empath is placed on medication? Does the problem go away? Is it masked? Does it reveal itself in other ways?
It depends on what medication they're put on. But the first line of treatment for empaths is not medication. I want to make that point. And down the line, if they need a little medication, they need a little medication usually, or they use much less than what traditional doctors prescribe because their systems are so sensitive. You see, so what the problem is that empaths are given a horse dose of medication by traditional doctors, and it's way too much for their systems. So if I'm, let's say, working with a patient, and they do need to be on a little antidepressant, not to say that I give a lot of them, but let's just say there's certain people that, their serotonin is depleted. I work with the patient to give them little slivers of a dose, to see if their system responds. So the whole approach has to be different with empaths. And that's what I'm trying to educate healthcare professionals. I'm giving an empath online course to teach people. I'm kind of on a crusade to teach people and educate them about empaths.
I was in a marriage for 23 years, and in a lot of that time, I never felt well physically, and I didn't understand. I had no idea what was going on. Yeah. And it wasn't until I got divorced and I really understood that my husband at the time was someone who saw the glass half empty. He was negative. He is more of a victim type person, where I'm the opposite, but I never understood that it was literally, energetically sucking the life out of me. I had no knowledge of that.
Exactly, and that's why I'm so excited about these kinds of conversations, so that people can have that aha moment of, wow, that's what's happening, or that's what happened, and I don't want to repeat it again.
From an energy standpoint, for people that may not be familiar with some of the things that we've been talking about, what is an energy vampire, and how can another person suck the life out of you?
Energy vampires are people, how do you recognize one? You're around them and suddenly your eyelids get heavy, you feel like taking a nap, you start feeling toxic, you start feeling drained or anxious or depressed. So basically your mood changes and your energy level changes around these people. So it's important for empaths to intuitively acknowledge what they're feeling, rather than a lot, like my patients think they're hypochondriacs or they're making things up. And I'm here to tell you, as a psychiatrist and empath, you're not making things up, and you interrelate to the world via energy, so you need to trust these intuitions about people, or at least go slow so that you can investigate the person to see if they really are, safe for you.
The other person doesn't even know they're doing this, correct?
Most of the time, energy vampires are unconscious of what they do.
Right.
Very occasionally, they do it on purpose because they're malicious. But mostly, no, they're just unconscious. That's what makes them so dangerous. And I want to say that we all can be energy vampires at times. And we can all get into victim mode or complaining or going on and on and on, whatever. But the key is to catch ourselves early and to bring consciousness into it and say, hey, okay, I'm into my energy vampire mode, and how can I shift out of it? Your partner will be very happy. Your family will be very happy about this consciousness stance that you have about it. But I don't want to make it like them, they're out there. We all have the capacity. We can just shift out of it quicker.
The book is The Empath Survival Guide, Life Strategies for Sensitive People by Dr. Judith Orloff. If you would like to get more information about Judith and her work, you can visit drjudithorloff.com. That's drjudithorloff.com. Doctor, in our final moments, what's the takeaway? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
Trust your intuition. Really don't give up on empathy, but learn how to ground and center yourself.
Judith, thank you so much for joining us today. As I said, for me personally, this is such an important topic, and I can agree with everything that you have said. Awareness is the key, and once you do become aware of it, then it's very important to protect yourself so that you do not experience physical, emotional symptoms. So thank you for being here, for sharing this important information, and you can always come back. I would love to have you come back.
No, thank you. I would love it.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.